Pushing it further, let's look at the suspension of the Nigerian Ports Authority boss. President Muhammadu Buhari approved the suspension of the managing director of the Nigerian Ports Authority last week, in person of Hadiza Bala Usman, to allow for investigation into allegations against her. All right, this was disclosed last week, Thursday, by presidential spokesperson Garba Shehu. As to why the NPA boss was suspended, strong indications emerged on Friday that alleged non-remittance of 2016 to 2020 operating surpluses of 165.3 billion naira to the Federation account by the Nigerian Ports Authority may have led to the suspension of the MD of the agency. All right. Her suspension also stemmed from alleged insubordination to Transportation Minister Rotimi Amechi. And of course, the NPA is under Rotimi Amechi's ministry, the Transport Ministry. All right. Now, Hadiza, according to sources, have not been attending some vital ministerial briefings as chief executive of one of the parastatals under the Ministry of Transportation. Okay, but if you've been following the news, you know some political forces are opposing her suspension, and they've actually launched a move to rescue her. The allegations is running up to 100, according to what I heard, all right? But we'll be going through them in the course of our discussion. But gentlemen, first off, let's look at this issue of the suspension of the NPA boss. And of course, let's not forget how she came to become the boss of the Nigerian Ports Authority. We all know what happened that period and how she was brought back again. And now here we are, the suspension.
Well, I think the blackmail is a stock of this administration. Pardon me. We have heard of suspension. We have not heard of people stealing money. We have not had people being convicted. It started with the former secretary to the federal government. What was his name again?
Amsec.
No.
The female lady?
No, not the female lady. The former secretary to the federal government before Boss Mustafa. Okay, when I remember it, he was sacked from office for the grass cutting contract. Up to today, in 2019 election, he was the one in front to campaign for President Muhammadu Buhari. We have heard of Eyoita, the former civil service, the #1 civil service person in
head of service.
Head of service. We have heard of former Supreme Court judge. I mean the chief judge of Nigeria, of the Federation. We have also heard of Magu. When you put all of this together, you find out that there is always a committee set up to probe all of these people. We have not had at the end of the day, this thing does not come to the limelight at the end of the day. You don't, up to today, the Magu own, the Salami report has not been publicly, presented. Said this is the scenes of Magu. This is what Magu did. All what media reported was all speculation. The sources and the sources and the sources and the sources. And I don't think this is going to be different. I don't think this is going to be different. When you are asked to leave the office, if you look at since 2015 to date, the government has one route that they move. They have one strategy that they apply. If they tired of you, they just put some allegation on you, and especially Mr. President doesn't want to hear. Maybe the allegation of insubordination wouldn't have moved Mr. President's hand to suspend, and I think what moved the Mr. President to suspend, to append to that letter, is the non-remittance, because Mr. President, according to reports again over the weekend, how Mr. President doesn't want to hear that the certain amount of money is not remitted to the Federation account. So I feel at the end of the day, Hadiza would not be convicted, it will not be taken to court.
You think so?
I feel so, because there are evidence that are pointed to that fact.
Mr. Bosse, there are well over 100 issues, that have been looked at, bordering on this suspension. Let me read out some of them. Alleged gross violation of procurement process, administrative lapses leading to the non-remittance of the VAT deductions, all right, running into billions of naira, and in foreign currency denomination to the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Alleged excess increase. No, because...
Can you listen?
Okay.
Yeah, now, you were right. Can you tell me the money that Magu was alleged to have stolen from the recovered seized assets is far beyond this one? What happened to Magu? He's still in police. He has returned back to police. He's a policeman. He has returned back. He has not been taken to court. You don't understand what I'm saying? Now, the minister has already set up a panel. If you have this kind of facts, what do you do? Why don't you invite the EFCC in? Why are you setting up a panel? That is a pointer to the fact that at the end of the day, what they just want is that to let the woman go. I am giving you instances of this government why they have not been prosecuting people who have been alleged to have stolen money. And you are telling me you are reading a list. What list are you reading for? You are reading a list when the minister has already set up a administrative panel to probe the woman. Okay? If you have this kind of humongous amount, 165 billion naira, if you give it to me, my family and my friends and my relations can never go poor again. And you are telling me you are setting up administrative panel. You have the EFCC, you have ICPC, you have the court, you have the police. It's a pointer to the fact that at the end of the day, we will just write and something bigger will come tomorrow and the press will gloss over it and move on.
Mr. Zukama.
Well, the thing is that I is one of the few members of the Buhari administration I have a lot of respect for Miss
Adiza
Usman. And I remember his father, who was very active in the 70s and mostly in the 80s. There was a professor at Madu Bello, and he was in the rank of the Wulesoyinkas and Bear Kokutis in terms of being a political activist, the father. And from the way she spoke, the independent-mindedness, the strength of purpose, even with a streak of arrogance, the way she talked, I liked her a lot because she seemed like somebody who is incorruptible and couldn't be pushed around by anybody. There was that renegade streak, I think maybe she got from her father in her. But I think the main problem is the rift between the between the Minister for Transportation and her. Most politicians are corrupt. Chibuika Amechi is not squeaky clean, so he cannot lecture anybody on corruption. And they know themselves, they operate the same way. And like Ofose rightly said, they use these excuses to remove somebody from office, but don't go any further than that. Because you that want to prosecute him, investigate him, who are you? Are you incorruptible? They are in the same clique, like I said earlier. They intermarry, they belong to the same clubs, their wives wear the same ashokis to parties. So if they know who is stealing this and who is stealing that, you can't prosecute anybody.
If you see more than me, I will blow the whistle.
But if there's to remove somebody, you remember what she has her own missteps or his own missteps. Bring it up, remove the person, but nothing happens beyond that point. He made a list of those that have...
The Akpabio and the NDDC woman. Have you had anything anymore? Is Akpabio still not the governor, the minister of Nigeria?
How can you hear anything? The man told the members of the house that some of you benefited from this. He
said, show off the mic.
He said, turn off the mic, turn off the mic. So they know themselves.
And you are here. The patient is here reading me a list. What is the list? What list are you talking about? I'm just reading now that in one of the media, reputable media, here now that there are some government officials who are hell-bent in getting the woman back, saying that Amechi flouted the government rule. Now, what are we talking about? These are the fights, and it's going to end at the end of the day, because I have said it. What forced Mr. President and to move is the non-remittant. If it's any other thing, Mr. President would turn a blind eye to it. Yes, happened.
You were reading the list. Fella said it, they'll call it misappropriation, maladministration, and list. So fellas had all this list already. It's the same malappropriation, misappropriation,
misgovernance.
That they are listed. They are the same people in the same clique. Just doing what they want.
Patience. Let me tell you.
Yes, Mr.
In my village, in my little village, if someone stole your yam, someone goes to your farm and harvests your yam, and the person is caught, and you take the person to the village head, the case will die. Do you know why?
No.
The village head will just, okay, it's a family issue, let us, don't do that again. What the youth will do is to follow you, and the case die. If you don't want the case to die, you jump over the village head and you go to the police. That's when the police will take the case over. Now the village head will now go to the police and say, this is our village, and the man say, no, I don't know Amo. He came to my farm and harvested all my yam and everything. The man said, the police will ask you, do you want the case to go to court? Say, I want the case to go to court. Now this is the simple case of somebody, you say somebody stole, and instead of you to take the person to the police or EFCC, you are accusing the person. You are setting up administrative panel to probe the person, so that at the end of the day, Mr. President will call, say, what really happened? Organa like this, no fight. Wow. Don't do.
Thank you, Chief God, your first. Thank you for that enlightenment. All right, but according to reports, the suspension is actually the climax of what people say is a 6-year-long Cold War between Hadiza and her boss, Rotimi Amechi. And not forgetting to mention that the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, actually recommended her for the job, all right, in 2016.
And Hadiza was not doing badly. Yeah, it was the chief of staff to El-Rufai. So she wasn't doing badly.
And she's somebody that cannot be controlled.
She wasn't doing badly.
Deportment, the way she carries herself.
She's also
something that can be readily subjected.
As we speak today, she's someone.
That's where the problem came.
As we speak today, there is someone that El-Rufai is looking at as a successor. That's the person that the El-Rufai today in the media, they are reporting it, somebody that is looking at to say, okay, wow, you are good enough to go there. And what are they trying to do? To soil her name. I'm not speaking for her. I'm not speaking for any APC person. I cannot be in this table and speak for any politician. And I know very well that at the end of the day, when you kick a can, something that is inside the can will spill.
Okay, well, according to reports along the line, the NPA MD assumed an independent status and refused to defer to Amechi, who is actually her boss, on the activities and management of the Ports Authority. It got to a stage that the minister never knew what was going on in NPA except through a third party. Like I said, these are all reports. Well, the alleged act of insubordination included refusal of Hadiza to attend any ministerial briefing or meeting convened by Amechi, even when she wielded political influence to put NPA under the control of the Minister of State for Transportation. Her attitude still did not change. Now, let's quickly go through some of the allegations against her. Alleged gross violation of procurement process, like I said earlier, administrative lapses leading to non-remittance of VAT deductions running into billions of naira and in foreign currency denomination to the Federal Inland Revenue Service, alleged excessive increase in administrative operational expenses, extra budgetary expenditures on hotel accommodation, and under disclosure of expenditures on hotel expenses. Also, there's alleged inflation of CSR expenses, as corporate social responsibility expenses, about 573% rise in expenditure on local and foreign medical expenses, legal fees, corporate souvenirs, and expenditure. Alleged increase in administrative costs by 72%, and it goes on and on and on.
Sorry, I just needed to clarify. The man I was talking about is Babache David Lawal.
Okay, yeah, Babache. Okay, thank you, Chief Godi, for that. All right, so well, she's still on suspension. The suspension is so as to allow for proper investigation into all of these allegations, and I just hope
the same panel that Malami set up, the same panel that Ameti set up. You accuse somebody, you set up a panel, you pick your own people. This thing has to be set on this table so that Nigerians will know that we are not practicing what we are preaching. At the end of the day, if you are the one accusing me and you are the one picking people to probe me, you have already condemned me. I'm not going to get justice from that kind of setup. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And that is why when the police effect an arrest, it will take you to the court. And the court will seek over a judgment for you.
It's nursery game jurisprudence or judiciary, whatever it's called, that you accuse me and then you be my judge. So you accuse me, you hand me over, you are the accuser. I am the defender. Then you need a neutral person
to come in. Yes. All right, thank you, gentlemen.